Well, good afternoon, friends. Good afternoon, friends. How are you doing today? Hope you're well, and hope you're enjoying the last little bit of relatively warm weather here before we get into the winter season here in Alberta. And thank you for joining us. Thank you for joining us on another episode of Conversations with Dune and Friends. And today we have a wonderful friend joining us here. She's right here in the city of Edmonton, and I'm just over here in Sherwood Park, Alberta. And again, my name is Dune Nguyen, and with the Conversations with Dune and Friends, we have Catherine V joining us. And Catherine, can you still hear me in the green room there, my friend? Wonderful. So let's maybe let me do a quick introduction of Catherine's background so that you can know a little bit about who you're hearing from for the next hour and a bit here as we have Catherine join us on this wonderful conversation. Now, in 1997, Catherine Vu co-founded Proactive Computer Solutions, taking a risk as a woman entrepreneur in a male-dominated sector. In 2003, Catherine bought out her partner, transforming the original company into Proactive IT Management, Inc. The Proactive IT team continues to grow, building expertise on their quest for thought and action leadership in the information management industry. Proactive IT is now a recognized force within the Alberta IT community, including participating in a special Silicon Valley development project in 2012, building on a foundation of best-in-class practices, technical expertise, and responsive customer service with integrity. Proactive IT has grown from humble roots into a thriving customer-centric technology guide to guide for our customers who are raving fans. As an immigrant to Canada, Catherine believes in paying it forward and is dedicated to giving back to her community. Her recent support includes Alberta Easter Seals, Winifred Stewart Association, Suit Yourself, Stollery Women's Network, and a 1,000 Women Advisory Committee, just to name a few. Catherine's philanthropic work raises tens of thousands of dollars annually in the community. Proactive IT is also proud to sponsor and participate in numerous charitable events and campaigns throughout the year. This fun-size entrepreneur is proud to be one of 22 mentors of the U of A, University of Alberta, Venture Mentoring Services, UAVMS, program, which now has 110 mentors. VMS mentors provide you Alberta students and alumni entrepreneurs with guidance and mentorship to get themselves and their venture into the next level. Also proud to be the vice chair of the board of Explore Edmonton Corporation, amongst amazing board members, Edmonton's visitor economy and venue management organization. With that wonderful introduction, folks, please help me in welcoming our guest today, Catherine Vu. Catherine, how are you doing today, my friend? Hope you are enjoying the last bit of wonderful weather here.
Thank you, Dune. Thank you for inviting me on this conversation. I am doing fabulous.
Wonderful.
Loving the fall weather we have so far.
Yeah. Tell us a little bit more about, fill us in a little bit. I know that was a wonderful introduction, but tell us a little bit about your journey of getting to this point. Just fill in a couple of spots there for us.
To getting into the point.
Yeah. Like what got you here? You came to Canada when you were how young?
I came to Canada in 1981 when I was 10. I came with my mom and two younger sisters, and my dad sponsors over in June of 1981. And I remember not really liking Canadian food very much because my dad wanted to fatten us up with burgers, cereals. I still this day cannot eat cereals, or pizza, which we had to eat because he wants us to be, healthy. And that was 1981. And it was quite a culture shock because, in Vietnam, we're all very close together. And I remember moving downtown in a condo and in an apartment rental. and it was just us at home while my dad went to work. And crazy enough, I live in the condo next across the street, like now. Isn't that crazy? Like, yeah, when
Yeah.
I first met my husband and he told me where he lived, I was like, wow, that's weird. Yeah, seriously, just one little street cross, two condos side by side.
Yeah.
That was in 81. And then I went to school, learned English, still have problem with my tenses and S and plural sounds, which
Yeah.
I made
Pesky.
fun from my friends.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
I think my husband, when he came back with me in Vietnam in last year in March, he's like, "Oh, there's a lot of you that speak like that." I don't know if you have that problem, but I sure do. My tenses are always wrong and never plural the right thing. So yeah. So then, when I graduated from university in 1994. There was no job at that time, and I studied to be an accountant, and so I had to go out there, and I finally found a job doing marketing for an IT company owned by an accounting firm, and so I was doing marketing there. And then in 1997, when we hired an older person for a sales position, he's like, you can do this, and I wasn't even thinking that I was an entrepreneur. Like that wasn't just where my thought was. And I'm like, well, what do I have to lose, right? So we started in April of 1997 with $1,000 in credit card, and he taught me to cold call, which is an invaluable skill that I've learned. And I'm not afraid to ask questions, ask anything. And yeah, so that's where we are now. And then 2003, when I went out on my own, I decided that the only way that I could kind of grow my company was to join different groups and network and stuff like that. And that's how I've built my network in Edmonton, is just going to events, going to anything that was available for entrepreneur. I would show up, and I had a networking buddy, which is my friend Earl Sindrick. He was kind of made me feel comfortable in a room full of men, because he would introduce me to a group. And it was definitely easier when you have someone introduce you than approaching a group of men standing around talking. And, so that really helped. And yeah, I've never looked back since.
There you go. So I heard a couple of things. Entrepreneurship kind of surprised you, kind of took you by surprise a little bit. But once you got into it, you realized very quickly that it's really a people business. Really, frankly, most business and any business is really about the people. And so you committed that the time and effort and energy into really meeting people, connecting with people, and keeping those relationships alive. And so you have learned early on many people things that many people don't discover until much later in their career. So that's wonderful to hear.
And, I still wish that I learned even earlier. Can you imagine if you start doing that when you're in high school or something like that, right? Like, I think that learning to just be curious about people and seeing how you can connect different people together, I think that's what gives me the most joy. It's just, learning new people, meeting new people. I mean, I was not as outgoing as I am now. I definitely was shy. I mean, I'm not shy, but unless I know you, I wouldn't approach you. But now I'm like, I'll say hi to anyone.
You have
Whether
learned.
you want to or not, you're going to get a hi from me.
Yeah. Well, that's. Thank you for sharing that background. And I have a similar background of coming to Canada when I was 13 in '83, in fact. So we came to Canada about the same time. So and. Wonderful to hear the story of entrepreneurship, but your story is much more than entrepreneurship. Your story is also about community engagement and charity, and really you just contributes so positively to the lives of so many people, even outside of business and outside of your own community where you live. You kind of take it a bit of a broader community, whether it's a global community or whatever have you. So tell us when you realized that community was an important thing. Could you tell it? Do you have a story that sort of you can think about where it dawned on you that community is an important part of life?
You know what? I have to say that it started when my brother was born in 1991.
Mm-hmm.
We did not know that he had Down syndrome until after he was born.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember knowing nothing about Down syndrome at all.
Mm-hmm.
And when we were told the day after he was born from the doctors, I remember going to the library and searching what I could find in terms of Down syndrome, and remember reading that they're called mongoloid, that they're institutionalized. And those are a very scary thing to learn when you just have a new family member that is like that. So I remember early on saying to my mom and parents that, in order for us to really know what we can do to support Daniel, that we need to be involved with the Down Syndrome Association, the Edmonton Down Syndrome Society. So that's how we got involved. And then AACL at the time, which is now Inclusion Alberta, I was on their Family Voices committee, which was a group of individuals just in the Edmonton Catholic School District. We get together and then we figure out how we can promote inclusion in school.
Yeah.
And that's kind of how I started down the volunteering and being part of organizations. And then because I have my business, I realized that, business get asked a lot to get involved in the community. So it's kind of come full circle to that. Like I don't know what I would have done if my brother wasn't born with Down syndrome, if I was so committed to community. But now, like causes that are close to my heart are like, people with disability, kids, women issues, cancer. And I remember in 2003, 4, I was invited to join the Run for the Cure. And I remember going to their first fundraiser and realizing, oh, this would be a lot of fun if I get a group of friends together. And the next few years, I got friends together. I organized the T-shirts, and we raised money. And I remember we came in as team number 2. And that's how I got involved in doing a lot of fundraiser and getting exposed to a lot of charity. And typically, I do about 3. I would support a charity for like 3 years and then move on to the next one.
Right.
And our friend Bob Huey, I think, invited me to donate to him for Drop Zone. And I remember, I don't know if it's my personality to be very geared towards security and stuff that I'm comfortable in. And I know that part of personal development is that you need to get out of your comfort zone to grow, right? And that was kind of like what I try to do. And I remember thinking, rappelling down a building, like I'm scared of height, but I should do it. And so I put a team together. There was 8 of us, and I think we were the first team to officially got together for the Easter seals. And I remember being so scared going down that building. And my sister was, I think that was like 2004, I think, because my niece is like a lot, like she was just born then and she just turned 12. And no, not 2008, I guess. So yeah, it was like all these women, we were coming down, and then the next year I did it again, and remember it was really windy and I got flipped over to the other side of the building and thinking, oh, I'm gonna die. And I did. And I came down like, yep, fear of height kind of gone. So that's kind of how I push myself, is the community work. Usually I get involved in doing stuff that I'm scared of, or that I enjoy, or like, bust a move, doing 6 hours of exercise, putting a team together. I mean, We raised almost $25,000 one year, and
Wow.
we were number 2 team, and the first team was PCL, so that's pretty good. And it's
Hmm.
usually group of women and their hubbies or whatever that
Hmm.
support, and
Hmm.
words get around that I have no problem fundraising and doing causes, and that's how I think I got into the community. And I love Edmonton. Like, I don't think there's anything about Edmonton that I don't like, even the weather. Like, my
Yeah.
husband and we would go out for a walk in -30. It's all about the gear, right? Like, I
Yeah.
love being outside,
I feel the
and
same way. I feel the same way.
yeah,
You know,
yeah, I love Edmonton
as
with
somebody
that.
who was born and raised, you two, in a very warm country and very humid country, right by the ocean. You know, the country is so small and narrow that in fact most of the country is bordering the ocean. I can tell you that I have no problem with Canadian winters here. You know, we get used to anything, and so yeah, I love it here as well. I
Yeah,
do want to bring out a couple of things that you said for our viewers. I want to underscore the idea of really adversity, in this case, that the challenge of having a family member with Down syndrome. It turned out to be a blessing for you and a blessing for your career. It turned out to be really good for you to discover that community, that sense of engagement, that sense of giving back, that sense of contributing. All of us, I think, have certainly health challenges in our family, and I'm no different. Where, growing up, I've always been told, and I always believed it, that one of my family members have polio, right? And living with the aftermath of polio, I was always told that she's a gift to our family, and I've always believed that, and it is true. And so, as we have relatives and family members who have autism, I embrace that perspective, and it certainly is true. He is a gift to us. So again, every life challenge, brings a bit of a special gift that you just got to unwrap. If you don't unwrap, you don't know what's in there.
yeah. I mean, it's scary when you don't know what you're getting into, but my brother's 29 now. He has a
Mm-hmm.
black belt in Taekwondo. He worked for the UA before COVID, and right
Mm-hmm.
now he has to go back to work. But
Yeah.
he's a joy, and he inspires me every day to just try new things. And Facebook and tech has really improved his communication skill. Like, he writes really amazing sentences. Like, he's just amazing. And I
Mm.
know that for sure my involvement with community would not have been to this extent if I didn't start it
Mm.
so early on in his
Yeah.
career, just in his life, just to try to be in the know, right? Like, that's how
Yeah.
you kind of get comfortable, is to participate in groups that support groups, essentially, is what it was.
Yeah.
And then
That's fantastic. The journey of discovery is have all kinds of turns that you can't anticipate. You just have to get in the game. You just have to get in the group. You have to get in again, hang with the appropriate people, and things will work itself out over the long run. So thank you for sharing that. Now, I do have a number of photos that I'm going to bring up, and I want you to tell some stories that relate to the photos. They're going to be random, but they'll be a great way to get to know you better. Folks, who are watching right now, there's a few people watching right now live, and many people watch after the recorded version afterwards. But feel free, please comment in the comment section, and we can see your comment. We can feature it on screen. You'll be in the recorded video, and Catherine can respond to that. Put her on the hot seat a little bit, folks. Not too hot, but put her on her hot seat a little bit. Now, the first person who comment, we're gonna make a big deal out of it. Okay, so be the first. Be the first to comment. Doesn't matter what you say. Ideally, positive, and ideally encouraging, and ideally inquisitive. But love to hear and see some comments coming in. So Catherine, I'm going to bring up some photos here, and in no particular order. We're going to do that. Michael J. Fox in the time machine, but this time machine is on the fritz. It's going to take us to all kinds of different times. Like not any particular order. Are you okay with that?
Yeah.
Okay. Being that we're okay with that, what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and bring it in here and tell us about this this fine gentleman here that I'm looking at, and I think you know who I'm referring to. But let's go ahead and bring it in here and tell us about this fine-looking gentleman here.
That's my husband Arvind. We were I was Proactive IT was a sponsor for the Cure Cancer golf tournament last August, and yeah, he decided he said he'll work it with me because I've actually never we've sponsored before, but I usually golf in the tournament and never work in a booth, and it was actually a phenomenal day, and it was lots of fun. And we brought in a food truck, a lemongrass food truck for our uh, whole sponsor, and it was a big hit. So
Oh,
it was
I
nice
get.
that he participated in a lot of things that I do, and that's what I'm so lucky that way that he says yes to everything, all my crazy ideas.
Wonderful. Uh, Wonderful. And there's your company logo there. What's the inspiration? What's the thought that went into the logo? If you happen to have that story handy, how did you
You know
come up
what?
with?
I don't know if you look at it, you tell that that's the clock.
Yeah,
So
I
it's
saw the clock. Yeah.
rapid response IT is what we strive for,
Mm-hmm.
and so that the P with the hand is kind of like signify time, and in IT that's really important to
Yeah.
be responsive to client. I mean, we're an on-demand outsourced IT company versus managed service,
Mm-hmm.
but you don't have to have a monthly fee with us to get us to respond really quickly, and that's usually a pet peeve for a lot of business is how long it takes for their problem to get, even acknowledged, let alone solved.
Mm-hmm.
So that was important to us in our logo was to do that. I think we did. I can't remember what year we did that logo in, but
Yeah.
yeah, it's been a long time.
I love it. It's great. Just from an outside perspective, that little kind of needle there with the round thing could very well be any kind of gauge that deal with performance or things as well beyond the clock, my friend.
I guess I never looked at it that way.
But you know what I
Yeah,
mean? That could be, a
yeah.
gauge for performance, KPI of some sort, key performance indicator. But oh, there you are in some wonderful. Is that Edmonton or elsewhere?
Yeah, that's right by Le Marchand Park. So
Hmm.
we got married on April 5th of 2018 in Mexico
Hmm.
with 50 of our families and friends.
Hmm.
But my father-in-law and mother-in-law couldn't travel.
Hmm.
So then we actually have the official ceremony because, we didn't in Edmonton on May 27th. So they were at the wedding
Hmm.
here in the
Yeah,
park. We just kind of stand by the gazebo and got married with Sienna. And
wonderful.
that's our wedding day, official wedding day.
Yeah, I love the colors that you have on there. I mean, you guys are always colorful and vibrant, and yeah, very
Yeah,
cool.
we're not shy about wearing colors, that's for sure.
See, yeah, like you said before, you don't mind the cold of Edmonton. That doesn't bother you, right?
So I think the more icicle you get on your lashes is like a badge of honor. Like I
No.
survived minus 30 being outside. You can
Uh,
do anything.
there you go. I must say that that was quite an experience coming to Canada when, literally about 24 hours later, or maybe 30 hours later, I was between then and when I landed in Canada, it was about 75 degrees Celsius difference. And
Oh,
yeah, back in
so
the early 80s, you remember we had more snow back then too, right?
yeah, you came in winter. I came in summer. So,
I came January 13th of 1983.
oh, okay.
Yeah.
So this is just this last weekend. I'm with Healthy Role Models,
Hmm.
and we've never done it before, but we had a social distance thing where we went hiking in. This is on the Howling Peak hike, and so this is at one of the first kind of lookout,
Hmm.
and then we all disperse after, and I think 5 of us end up doing multiple peaks. But
Hmm.
yeah, these are my healthy role models. They inspire me to move and appreciate being able to move. I love being fit and healthy and very
Yeah.
supportive. So my husband is our official photographer.
Hmm. Well, so in other words, he does the same climb that you guys do with heavy photography equipment. I'm
No,
just
no,
kidding.
no, just iPhone.
I'm just kidding. So, I mean, anybody who knows you, anybody who have seen your social media posts know that you're a Energizer bunny. I don't know where you get your energy from. When I was, well, maybe a few years ago now, but I used to be told that I have lots of energy, and I look at you and I say, no, I still got long ways to go in terms of energy levels there. But there you are with your brother.
Yeah. Yes, that's my brother.
Mm-hmm.
That was when we were filming the Uniquely Me TV for the
Mm.
Edmonton Down Syndrome Society,
Yeah.
which is airing November 2nd. So watch out for it. It's gonna
Yeah.
be cool. Yeah.
Wonderful.
So we both. Yeah, he gave me my sweatshirt there, Daniel, because that was his,
Oh,
and then he
nice.
got a yellow one. He loves clothes, and he also graduated from the U of A, so that's why we were there.
Nice, nice.
And this picture was, I was invited to speak at the Kids Cottage fundraising breakfast.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't like public speaking, Ashley. Carrie Doll has kind of helped me get comfortable with it. So I think this is my second debut as a speaker, and I just sent it to my friends to see who would come, and look at how many people showed up. And then I'm like, oh my God, now they're all coming, and makes me even more nervous. Right?
But
Now you're not talking to strangers, you're talking to your friends. And I'm like, well, they know my story. It's not going to be interesting. So, but that was very amazing to look out in the crowd and see two tables of your friends and entrepreneurs just there supporting you. Like, it was,
yeah,
amazing moment.
I know you did awesome, and maybe when you're kind of tired of this IT company thing, maybe you'll be speaking on the circuit every week. Just kidding. COVID has sort of changed it a little bit there. We have to kind of factor that in.
Not at all.
Cool.
Yeah. This is one of the our team meeting. It must be Thanksgiving of last year, I think. You can see the pumpkin pie there from Fife and Deco, and we always have pizza and beer, and we support local. And just my team in my boardroom at the office here.
Yeah. So you have a number of team members on staff, but you also have a number of contractors or subcontractors that you reach out to engage as well, which is a smart model. Smart model to have sort of a core team, and then some contractors.
Yeah, I mean, contractor has always been my model right from day one, and employee was actually a new thing that I've added maybe 8 years ago, and I love working with my contractor and my employees. But the contractors, the reason why they want to work for us is that even though they can do their IT with other businesses, they want to be part of us, because then we're a team. Like, even though we're not together, we work quite well as a team, and it's nice to have that support as a team when you're an IT guy that wants some flexibility and autonomy in your business, but you get lonely, or you want someone to relieve you if you go on holidays. Like, if they go on holiday and they have clients to support, then Proactive would take care of them.
You bet. In other words, you again create a culture and a community, and things kind of feed themselves after that. I know you take a lot of trips, and I'm sure some of them are business trips, but many of them are also personal holidays and vacation, and just exploration, and maybe even a bit of a retreat, and come up with new ideas. But the reason you're able to do that is you have created a team that is very autonomous, is what I understand.
Yes, I love to travel, and I never, I have my company. Like, I started Proactive in 1997, and then 2003 I won my own, and I never took one day of holiday until 2008. But then after that, the floodgates opened, and then my husband loves to travel, so. And he introduced me to bike travel. Like, we've been to Italy, Spain, and then last March, like 2019 March, I took him to Vietnam for a bike trip with Spice Roads, and it was amazing. I totally would do that again.
Yeah.
Love exploring Vietnam through bikes.
Yeah, I want to echo that back for our viewers who what you heard from Catherine just now is that in her early career of business ownership, she was very, obviously hardworking and always focused on work there and getting the company to be successful and keeping it successful, and really didn't take really any significant vacation and whatnot. And then all of a sudden something happened that changed that perspective, and now you're taking a lot of time kind of for different things, whether it's to strategically kind of plan for your company, whether it's to, in other words, I wonder, is that because you got to a point where that you were able to kind of have your team quite autonomous, or is that a combination of that and the realization that, work shouldn't be taking all of your time and energy? Which one was more of, do you recall?
I think it's a bit of both. Like, I was used to just doing stuff on my own, and I have contractor, but really never anyone I would feel like would want to take care of the business while I was gone. And I remember hiring Heather, and she kind of gave me the confidence to travel, and then just over the year just got to travel more, and the business is still alive when I
There you
leave.
go.
Sometimes we think that only we can do what we're set out to do as entrepreneur, but part of being entrepreneur is to let go of that control sometime and trust in your team and having a good team that can do it. And now with COVID, people realize that you can do a lot of stuff remotely, and that's the advantage of technology, right? Like, it allows you to really work from anywhere if you don't need to see clients and stuff like that. But yeah.
See, both of these groups of people are equally happy. Look at that, smiling, relaxing in the red chairs versus.
That's the 150 anniversary at the Hotel Mac event. Yeah.
Oh yeah, cool.
You even dressed up like Canada, Canadian, eh?
Beautiful hotel, of course. Beautiful hotel, Hotel McDonough. Yeah, very cool.
That's another fundraiser that we support. As you can see, we like to dress up, we like to party, and we like to support charity. It's like win, win, win all around.
Yeah. What I might say, if I can add a sentiment from the outside looking in, it seems like you work very hard, you play very hard, and you guys always look great doing it. Whether it's work or whether it's play or events or celebrations of various types. Again, engaging in the community in a way that is fun and inspiring.
Thank you.
Very cool. Was this in Canada?
Pardon me?
Was this in Canada or elsewhere?
Yeah, that was actually at Revel. They closed now, but my bonus son was a chef there, and he's amazing chef. And we always do dîner en blanc. I don't know if you know dîner en blanc, but every time dîner en blanc comes, it rains. And that year, like last year, the rain was like thunderstorm. We were in the stadium. It was just, we're drenched. And I remember talking to my husband and said, we should have our own thing, just go to a picnic with our friends and wait. And he goes, well, why don't you ask Kunal and just book the restaurant? And so I literally organized this event in like a week and have like 26 people show up. And it was so much fun and amazing food. And we were going to do it again this year. And then the business shut down. And so I'm very sad. But it was such an amazing event. Yeah. I love wearing white, as you can see.
Yeah.
This is a planking challenge.
Wow, this is like almost look like the kinds of things that engineering students would do at universities.
I was like plank challenge with my healthy role model. So then they decided to do one arm plank with pizza box on top. That's
that's a lot of fun there. So was there a crash shortly after, or did you come to a safe?
Strong man.
There you go. As they say, when it comes to muscle, use it or lose it, right? Use it or lose it.
That's right. Yes. Oh yeah, this is the cover of Business in Edmonton magazine. I was chose as one of their business leader in 2017, and a lot of my friends are on this page and new friends. So it's phenomenal magazine that feature business leaders in Edmonton, and I'm very honored to be one of the alumni of that group, I guess.
Yeah, I recognize some more people on there. I see Joe on there as well.
Yep. Your neighbor?
My neighbor. I see him acting as a pool boy for his wife once in a while. Like when I look out there, they have a pool there.
That's right. I do. Oh, this picture, my sister or my brother just posted, and this is probably the only pictures I have of myself as a kid, because a lot of picture got lost in fire and move and stuff. So that's me in the red and blue stripe, and then my sister Antoinette, and then my sister Cecilia with my mom. So this is probably, I say, it could be 45 years old, this picture.
Yeah, very cool.
Um,
Same here. I don't have many photos of me in the younger ages like that either. I mean, there was a time when not a lot of people have cameras, right? And when you do have camera, you take very few photos, and some of those photos don't quite last through all the challenges of life. But I got to ring
Yeah.
a bell here. Susan has chimed in. She's the first person who comment on this thread here. So she says, congratulations, Catherine. And Susan, thank you so much for commenting. And feel free to continue the conversation with us, and feel free to ask Catherine questions and interact with us throughout the time here. So, Catherine, in all of the stuff that you do, whether it's work or fun or community or whatever, do you have a big lesson and a story that goes with that? Think about in any one of those aspects of life where you experience something and you learn a big lesson out of that. Do you have a story like that top of mind that you can share of perhaps some obstacles or some challenges, and then you overcome that and you learn some lessons?
Oh, there's so many lessons in life. I think my lessons that I really take to heart is saying yes to things, because sometimes we tend to hesitate because we're worried about something. But every time I've said yes to something that is scary or make me uncomfortable, I've always grown from it, learned from it, and sometimes the result is so surprising that it's like, wow, I wish I do that more often. Like, I mean, I remember in my early days of fundraising and seeing a person in the hallway at the office here, and I was like, oh, should I ask him if he want to support my charity? And I remember still clearly, and so I'm like, I'm doing this fundraiser, do you think you can support me? And then he wrote me a check for $500, and I was thinking, oh my gosh, if I didn't ask, right, I would miss that completely. Or saying yes to a friend saying, they're going to join Healthy Role Models in spring of 2017, and that has just shifted my fitness so much and created this more focused way of being healthy and being strong for life, right? Like it's like why we want to be healthy is for life, because you can be rich and have all the money, but if you don't have your health, you have nothing, right? And and just like living life to the fullest, because you just never know. And so that's what I try to do every time.
Yeah. Now back to the saying yes more often. I mean, it's a case of if you want the chance of a different life, an evolving life, a life that is going somewhere different than status quo, you got to do something different. You got to ask somebody who you otherwise wouldn't have asked. You got to talk to somebody who you otherwise would not talk to. You got to take different actions if you want your life to change, right?
That's right. Yeah, totally right.
Very
Insanity,
cool.
right? The definition insanity is looking for something different, but yet doing the same thing.
You
And that's
bet. And
but
we've all been there. We all been there. So
now
tell us about.
now I try not to say yes to too many things. But
Yeah, that's.
COVID has really helped with that because it's kind of freed up my social calendar, you would say. Now I still have events. Like this one actually it's a perfect time this is a group of us last year or 2 years, I think it's last year at the fashion for with compassion, which
Mhm.
is a big fundraiser for Sorrentino Compassion House.
Yeah.
And this Thursday on the 8th, there's a virtual event. So I'm supporter of that. So
Mhm.
now we just celebrate online virtually because I mean the charity still needs our support and help. And since we can't be together, lots of company are reinventing themselves and just creating live virtual event for us.
Mhm.
And there's still a lot that you can participate, and
Mhm.
it's getting better and better every time. So I say try it. Say yes to some of those things now and then too,
You bet. You bet.
because that's our reality for the next while, right?
Yeah. Well, yeah. Every major kind of challenge in the world also offers new opportunity to innovate around it, to innovate, over it, to innovate because of it in some cases. But yeah, very cool. Tell us about this one.
I think this is my father-in-law birthday in
Hmm.
January. He'll be 98th in January, and my mother-in-law will be 91
Wow.
in December. So yeah, so this is just a family picture.
Hmm.
That's my husband and his daughter, Charu,
Hmm.
Kunal, her husband, and my two grandson,
Hmm.
Nixon and Hendrix.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Wow, 90 some years old. That's an inspiration to us who feel at times, like we don't have much time left, and we might not. But it's also possible that we might end up living longer than we may expect if we do certain things right, and a bit of luck as well. But wonderful. I'm inspired to see people who are active and alert at the older age that they are. And my mom is in her 80s now, and throughout Zoom here, we meet every Sunday for 2 hours with the extended family, and Zoom has been great. We're on our 30 some, I think 29 weekly Zoom meetings now with the family.
Wow, that's pretty amazing.
2 hours we yak on Sunday, every Sunday.
Oh.
All right, so here you are doing some climbing, and yeah.
Yeah, proud Canadian, right?
Yeah,
This is on
I
telling again with my husband, and yeah, we love hiking.
yeah,
We love the mountains,
yeah,
and
and
we
we
typically
and we
go.
love Canada.
Yeah, I love Canada. We typically go to the mountain about 2-3 times a year, and
Hmm.
usually in the shoulder seasons. But this year, because of COVID, we've actually been there in the summer. So I think I've gone like 4 times, 5 times to the mountains already. So it's pretty lucky
Nice.
that we're only 4 hours away, right?
Yeah,
From
awesome.
Jasper or Banff.
There's the wonderful day. This is in Mexico, you said, right?
Yep, that
Yeah,
was in Huatuco,
right.
April 5th, 2018. It
Beautiful.
was
And you had
phenomenal.
a all white party, if I remember correctly.
Yep.
Lots of white.
Yeah, I told you I love white.
I see that in your social media post, and it's wonderful.
Yeah. Yes.
And the red, of course, just pop with that white background there.
Yep.
Yeah, yeah. And your hubby actually has the hair to match as well, which my hair is going that direction as well. You've seen at the anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is our dear friends. We were in Hawaii. I
Mm,
guess that's the last trip a lot of us did outside of our country. We were in Maui
mm.
in November of last year, so
Yeah, yeah.
that was magical.
So pausing for a moment on the photos. In fact, this is
Mhm.
a great photo to kind of reflect a bit here. Uh, as you think about, your friends and your community and your business associates and your business clients, what are some common threads? If you can pull out three, or let's say three common thread among those various groups of people, what comes to mind? Common things about all these different groups of people.
We all are full of gratitude for our lives. I think gratitude is really critical for
Mhm,
us, or for me anyways. I'm just grateful, and I think because you are grateful, you attract more things that you can be grateful for.
mhm,
Um, Resilience, like, we all go through life challenges, but we
mhm,
don't let us kind of keep us down. Like, you can be down,
mhm.
but it's getting up that matters when
Yeah.
you're down. And just love. Like, I'm just so grateful that and thankful that I'm surrounded by love. And I
Mhm,
think if you give love, you get it back in return.
mhm,
And I
mhm.
mean, I love everything.
You sound so much like me in those areas. It's like people
Yeah,
ask me how come I actually, when I first met my wife back in 1990 at Nate. What it was, we put our names in a hat at the Nate Theater in this thing so-called buddy system. They picked out names, third semester myself, first semester Christina, and we were announced, buddy. And she tells me, and my friends who know me at Nate will attest to this. And in fact, they nicknamed me something I'll tell you in a minute. But my wife thought I was a bit weird because I smiled too much. Because and my friends, Nate, my nickname was Smiley, right? And so those of you who out there who are my Nate buddies from back in 1990 and on, I just really enjoy life. I just enjoy and appreciate and love so many different aspects of it that you just can't help but being grateful. You can't help but being engaged, and
mhm.
what we focus on enlarges, right? And I just focus on the appropriate things, and my life goes in that direction. Be aware that there's obviously bad stuff out there, but if you focus on the bad stuff all of the time, uh, you're not gonna live a very good life if that's your sole
Yeah,
focus.
life is a balance of good and bad.
You bet.
And
Yeah.
uh, I tend to see more good stuff.
Hmm. Yeah.
You
So,
know?
so, so tell us more. By the way, I just want to do a quick sound time check. Have I said earlier that time goes by very quickly when we're chatting in this format, and so it's gone very quickly. I would
Yeah.
love it. I would love it if you have a bit of time flexibility for us to go a little bit well beyond the 1 o'clock there, Catherine,
Okay.
because I think there's a lot more that we would love to hear from you. So hopefully you can extend. Are we okay with that?
Yeah.
All right. So with that, I want to hear more from you about, when you're going through university and kind of schooling and whatnot. Share maybe a story that jumps out from your school days, and share the lessons that you learned from that particular story. Do you have one in mind from your school days before you kind of got out into the workforce? Any school stories to share?
The only school school story that I had to share was it's funny that now that I own an IT company is I was very computer illiterate. Like,
Hmm.
university, I would pay people to type my papers, like in the 90s. And that was just now. Now I'm a very fast typer, but in those days, I struggle with that. And the one thing I remember, how you have those little floppy disks that you use
Hmm.
for your assignment? I
Hmm.
remember giving the law library a virus because I put the wrong flop. I don't know, something happened and shut down this computer system a little bit, and that was kind of scary. But for my university friends who knows me, to
Hmm.
me owning an IT company now is funny, right? And yeah, so stuff like that. And I really did not um, party very much in
Hmm.
university, or because I
Yep.
didn't. I was a late bloomer, and yeah,
Yeah.
and now I have a good time.
Yeah, yeah. Balanced life. There's a stage to everything, right? You can't look at somebody in their university days and predict how their life would turn out. You can't look at their marks and predict what they might do or not do. You can't look at the lifestyle at a certain time and predict that that's going to be the case for the whole thing. But I do want to highlight something here. Perhaps because you were not really an IT expert, that might actually be a good benefit for you in understanding people who may not be very IT proficient and IT experts and whatnot. So maybe that gives you an advantage over understanding your customers, perhaps.
Yeah, like I definitely, the advantage of working with us is I speak plain English to client and not the technology jargon, right? I mean,
Hmm.
I get their pain and frustration when something doesn't work. I mean, I've been to events where my technology is not that great, like, and they're like, I wish I know someone in IT, but I don't need to know IT. I just need to know the right person to call
Hmm.
have IT issues, right?
Yeah,
So, and then because I don't know IT, I'm always working on my business instead of in my business,
yeah.
right? And that's how I have the flexibility that way. But if I was like good at my craft in IT, then I'll be doing IT and not others. I wouldn't have time to do any networking or any of that
Yeah.
stuff, right?
Yeah, yeah. Well, as they say, the good can be the enemy of the great. If you're good at your job, sometimes you don't have the time to look outside of your job, to look, really closely at your business and to look really closely at strategic stuff and the human elements and the community and all of those things. So, yeah. So what was possibly some people might have looked at that as a bit of a roadblock, a little bit of a challenge, a little bit of limiting factor, actually, when viewed in a certain way, became your competitive advantage, became your kind of unique differentiator, maybe.
Yeah, you know what? I I'm not because I don't know the work, I don't actually pretend that I know the answers. So
Mm-hmm.
I would present it to my consultant.
Mm-hmm.
And for me, the right solution is something that would benefit the client. And as long as the client is happy, it doesn't need to be done my way, right?
Mm, yeah.
So it's just having and then asking a lot of questions, because if I don't understand something, I just ask my text like why that like, but I'm pretty logical though. Like
Mm-hmm.
I can go through things and said, okay, if you're saying that this is the reason why it doesn't work,
Mm-hmm.
then how come this is working? So then
Mm-hmm.
troubleshooting with them is something that I love doing too, because I looked at it from a different way.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So
In other words, many people out there later in their career discover the power of facilitative engagement, and whereas you started your career with that mindset, again, because not having the technical IT background, you really relied on your facilitative engagement. You really rely on your asking questions and really. I'm glad that you pointed out that you're very logical thinking and you're able to follow, you're able to learn, but you don't presuppose that you know the answer. You don't presuppose that you don't need to involve other people, which is actually a great and an ideal way of running and building larger companies. Because if you do everything, that's a great way to start a small company, small, and you can move fast. But you can't really maybe go as far without really engaging the team. So it sounds like you were kind of, based on your background, predisposed into a certain style, which is actually very compatible with building a larger company in the long run.
but you know what, talking about that reminds me that, yeah, because now I do a lot of project management for my company.
Mm-hmm.
But I remember in university first year, I didn't know anything about picking classes.
Mm-hmm.
And I pick all my classes with engineers. And you know what that means, right? The bell curve does not benefit me. So I remember being in a project management class at 8 a.m. on Tuesdays and Thursday. It's an hour and a half. I was not a morning person. I was with engineer. I have no idea what's happening. So my grade that first year was not the greatest. So I got better at choosing classes for sure. But yeah, so I took a project management class and almost failed. And
Mm-hmm.
now that's what I do in my business. So You just never know.
Never know, never know. You know, my passing mark in English, right, when I was in grade 12 was 51%. Right?
Just squeak through.
51%. And really, when you think about the things that I do, it's really, I'm in the communication business. Whether I teach at university and colleges, whether I do corporate training, I do professional speaking, whether I facilitate, strategic planning sessions or business analysis sessions or whatever, project management, it is heavy on the communication side. And it's like a slingshot effect, right? When you come from sort of quote unquote behind, and you have opportunities and a vision to kind of learn and to kind of develop, you'd be surprised how you can blow past what might have been considered, a limitation.
Yes.
Yeah.
So you just never know.
You never know. So underscore for folks who are in university right now, folks, if you're having challenges with some classes, if you're having, low marks and whatnot, take heart in the fact that life is longer than one course. Life is longer than, in fact, even your university degree and what you get out of it. Life is all about learning. So the question is, what kind of learning have you benefited from, even a bad course, even a bad experience, even some bad marks, even lower on the bell curve and whatever have you? Question is always about, as a person, what are you learning, right? And sometimes the learning comes in a few months later. Sometimes the learning comes in a few years later.
Yeah.
But
that reminds me of my stat class in university. I got 17%. And I remember the process. If I were you, Miss Vu, I would consider dropping the class. I paid for my own class in university. I'm like, the option to drop class and have to take it again and pay again was not an option. Yep. So a friend of mine just sat down and we rolled dices. We do probabilities, because I had no idea about probability. Now I'm like, oh yeah, that's awesome, right? But it just, sometimes your brain refuses to get a concept until you slow it down. And I think that's life. Sometimes you go so fast. I'm a quick learner, so certain things are really quick, but other things are very slow.
Which reminds me, this idea that I always say to my my classes and my corporate training clients and whatnot. I say, context before content. If you want to accelerate learning and really enable somebody to learn well, you have to give them the appropriate context that would actually set their mindset at a certain perspective, and then they can learn really quickly and whatnot. But if you feed them with details too early on, without that context, without that inspiration, without that motivation and confidence that said, oh, this is not difficult, this is just the same as that. If you haven't provided them with that linkage, you're doing them a disservice by providing them with what I call technical details prematurely.
Yes.
Yeah. So,
technical stuff, you can learn empathy, like that care for just like the people that my staff and my contractor, I look for their human factor first. Like, do they have empathy for clients, issues, care? And then the technical stuff you can always learn after. But if you don't have the patience or care for people, it's going to be a struggle, even if you're the best tech there is, right?
Yeah. And in fact, if you listen to Warren Buffett, who is probably the richest man in the world in terms of the portfolios that he has and whatnot, he talks about the idea of, if you got somebody who's very capable, but their integrity or their other, is actually not there, that's actually very dangerous. So technical competence, when not balanced or kind of supported by the appropriate human kind of qualities, such as integrity, such as you say, empathy and whatnot, then it could actually be very damaging. It would be better if they weren't so technically capable.
Those are some lessons that you got to learn as you go as an entrepreneur, because you just don't know, right? But whether or not their values, you share the same values, those are important, right?
Yeah, yeah. Well, I want to bring back the photos here, and I want to kind of stimulate some more thoughts, and we want to get to know various, all aspects that you want to share on essentially a public forum here, because this video will be publicly accessible. It is now, and it will continue to be. And I even uploaded onto YouTube, so it would be there as well. But let me bring it in here. Tell us a little bit more about the next photo here. Look at that, beautiful colors and
those are my cutie patootie grandson. That's the outfit from Vietnam, obviously, and
I love
I think
them.
that it's pretty amazing that I have no kids yet. I get to be a grandma. Like
There
that.
you go.
I love saying that. I'm getting this for my grandkids.
People look at you and say, "You don't look like a granny at all."
It's not the best compliment, though.
although I must say, it is true that many of our friends who are in their 50s and 60s and 70s and 80s and whatnot, generally speaking, people are appears to be healthier and appears to be more vibrant today than they used to be at that age. Let's say 30 years ago. I think there's a lot of reasons why that is. But do you see that? Am I wrong in saying that?
Yes, definitely. I think people are just more active.
Yeah.
I mean, all my friends, I don't feel old. Like, I don't feel like I'm aged. But the only time I do feel like that is when all the little kids, like, see, Daniel is
Uh-huh.
9, and like these were little kids when
Uh-huh.
I first known them, and now they're grown adults and stuff.
Yeah.
One of the
Yeah.
unique things too with the Down syndrome society.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. 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 No, I really do believe that those who have special needs really also carry special gifts for those of us who don't have those special needs. Who, if we listen and tune in, we can actually benefit hugely from their life and the way they see the world and the way they interact. I have so many kind of personal experiences with that I know that to be absolutely true.
Especially Down syndrome
Mm-hmm.
individuals are so loving and so full of
Mm-hmm.
acceptance, right?
Yeah.
And the world definitely need more of that. That's for sure.
Yeah. 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 And certainly not pretentious. Ah, look at that, beautiful. That is like Hollywood or Bollywood, kind
Right?
of.
Everybody
Yeah.
looks so amazing in white, and people don't wear white very often. So
Next time I have this photo displayed anywhere, I want you to send me the music that comes with it, the rock and beat that comes with it. All right. Okay. So where people can actually dance along to this photo.
yeah.
Very cool. Very cool. You do a
Those
lot of stairs. I'm guessing if you count the number of stair steps you've done, probably in the millions now.
twice a week I do stairs for minimum half an hour.
Yeah.
And I love stairs. Edmonton has some amazing stairs and views. And you
Mm,
know what? Doing stairs is like such an effective workout because it's a full body workout and making climbing the mountain a lot easier when you do stairs. That's for
yeah.
sure.
Yeah.
Every time I do a climb in the mountains, I realize the stairs really help. So these are my Saturday stair crew.
Mm, yeah. Yeah. Oh, I love those special hats. That brings back so much memories.
Yeah, this is
So many
us on
memories.
our bike trip. Lots of freckles. Yeah. So this is I think this is in Hue.
Hey, yeah.
Or
The middle
yeah,
part of Vietnam.
yes, that's where we start our bike trip out of.
Yeah. Yeah. Some very historically significant places there in Hue. Yeah.
Yep.
Awesome. Uh, Susan is just chiming in here. She probably needs to go to her other commitments here. And so she said, well, very good interview, very inspiring. And thank you, Susan, for chiming in. And
Yeah. Thank you, Susan.
yeah, have a great afternoon, my friend. So that's awesome. So, you know, here you are with your buddies again, and top of the mountain too.
Yeah.
Yeah, wow, that's awesome. Have you ever climbed mountains outside of Canada, or has it been mostly within the country?
Well, I guess you can say I climbed fancy pants in Vietnam,
Oh yeah, okay, cool.
right?
Yeah.
Because we were in, oh my gosh, what is that region? Sapa.
Hmm.
And we went there, and you take a gondola up, and then
Hmm.
you could take another cable car up.
Yeah.
And so Arvin and I decided we're gonna do the steps. So we did the steps. So
Hmm.
we were really high. That's a beautiful mountain, and they have like marble statue, like,
Oh
and
yeah.
it's like high, and
Hmm.
they carried that all up, and I can't even imagine what the construction of that cost, but it is quite something to see.
Hmm.
Yes, I guess.
Yeah, there you go. So really, in your current home country and in your place of birth, really.
Yeah, we want to do
Ha-
Machu Picchu on the list, and
mm,
yeah,
very cool. Very cool.
that's my family there.
Hmm.
I'm not sure where. Can you expand? I'm not sure
You
where that
bet.
is.
Yeah, let me just make that happen here.
It's one
I
of the
I want to say
golden
golden rice bowl, because I recognize the ceiling. The ceiling
Yeah,
here is what gives it
yeah.
away to be golden rice bowl.
I think this is my mom's 70th birthday.
Hmm.
Yeah. So
Again, I mean, everybody just looks so young for their age. That's a good thing. That's a good thing.
yeah, my nieces and nephew, they're getting so old. It's
Yeah,
crazy.
yeah, yeah. Oh, the tranquility of Alberta lakes. Or was that in BC?
No, this is in Elk Island, Stoughton Lake. We were
Hmm.
there at the sunset. It was amazing, like
Hmm.
just so beautiful.
Yeah,
Yeah,
fantastic. There you
that's
are with.
the Down syndrome golf tournament
Uh-huh.
with Joey Moss there,
Yeah.
and there's another picture of us picking him up.
Hmm.
That's the Down syndrome Go 21 walk a
Hmm.
few years ago.
That's you have that on LinkedIn, so that's your LinkedIn
Oh,
profile
I
photo.
sent you that picture. But yeah, that's the cover of Business in Edmonton magazine did a feature of me in 2018, I want to
Hmm.
say. I don't
Hmm.
know, time flies. So yeah, so Rebecca did this beautiful picture.
Hmm.
I love it.
Yeah, it has so much. Well, first of all, colors, and the other one is culture and sort of international feel to it, and very cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. It's just at home in a business context that it is in the kind of glamorous context, if I might say that.
Yeah, because Rebecca is a friend of mine on Facebook. So when she was called me to say she was doing my picture, I was actually pretty excited because she kind of
Mm,
knows who I am, and she
mhm,
knows that proactive is red and black. So
mhm.
she encouraged that, and yeah, that's how that picture turned out.
Yeah, yeah. Well, you mentioned proactive, and this is a great time for me to bring it in again. Just very briefly, your website. Tell us about what people might find on your website. I know that you do a lot of kind of referral work with existing clients, word of mouth, and repeat business and whatnot. But nonetheless, if I go to proactive
You find an
IT.
integrated website because you know what they say about
The shoes maker shoes.
yeah, like we need to definitely retool our website. And it's just a matter of priority and time because that's
Mhm,
a lot of time for me to figure out what I want.
mhm,
But like you said, a lot of our clients come in from uh, referral and people that knows me and
mhm,
clients and just stuff. So not many people go to our website to look at stuff except for information.
mhm.
Yeah, so we're on-demand IT support.
Yeah, very cool. On demand, and if I heard earlier, you don't even have a retainer that you have to pay. You only pay it as you use it. Is that right?
Yep. I mean, we have some clients that pay us a monthly fee, but that's totally something that they want to do
Right.
to better budget for
I hear you.
themselves.
Yeah, I hear
But
you.
flexibility, what we're good at is augmenting your IT needs so
Hmm.
that you have an on-demand, like like a staff who can do IT. We
Hmm.
can do all the server work, or if you have a server guy in your company, then we can do all the troubleshooting, other stuff. So whether or not you're one user or 100 user, we can support you in whatever you need. We're flexible. We work with other IT companies. We work with your team. We want to train you so that you can do your own thing, so you can save money that way. But I like to collaborate with a lot of phenomenal IT company in Edmonton, and so that's my philosophy, is that there's enough business for everyone,
Hmm.
and there's a fit for everyone. So we're
Hmm.
not a fit for certain clients, and other IT company are not fit for clients that are fit for us, right? So it's determining what is the best fit for Proactive and the clients, and grow together for a win-win situation for everybody. So
Yeah.
technology should work as a tool for you to do your business. And
Uh-huh.
if it doesn't, then something is wrong, and reach out. We'll love to have a chat with you.
You bet. Yeah. Again, a flexible company, an adaptive company, and a very responsive company. And most of all, though, I must say, a very human company in terms of you. You're a bit of a high touch company, aren't you?
Well, that's what we aim to do. I mean, sometimes that doesn't always work. Life gets in the way, but that's what we aim to be. And the clients that definitely use us more often, or use me as like a resource, like, I don't this is not IT, but can you refer me to someone that does this?
Uh-huh, uh-huh.
Um, we definitely can be of service, and we like Proactive, and I am connected to a lot of companies in Edmonton, and that's what gives me joy, is connecting people that have a need with people that can do the support, right?
Yeah, yeah. So in other words, you're not only a mover and shaker, but you also are a connector in the Edmonton community. Do you do much in Calgary, Catherine?
And no, we don't. We have a few clients there, but only because their head office is in Edmonton. So we
Hmm.
support head office, and then we support Calgary, and then we also have a partnership with a Calgary company that can do the work if we needed to do work in Calgary.
Hmm. Well, that is wonderful. That's fantastic. Now, I wanted to bring in this to share with our viewers. Tell us about this one, my friend.
Oh, you found that online too.
I found it.
I think that's a feature that Business in Edmonton did in 2017.
Hmm.
I also have a giant poster of myself. Don't know what it rolls up somewhere, but yeah, it's
It's a
very
scary thing when you have a poster that's bigger than you.
right. Hey,
Yeah.
I'm used to that, because Alberta Woman Entrepreneur has a poster of me
Mm.
uh, all the time. It's great, funny to come to an event and see a picture of yourself that's bigger than you, and so.
I love
But
that
it's
photo. I
cool.
love that photo. You should have that photo on your. I don't know. That would make a great LinkedIn photo as well.
Yeah,
Yeah. So
I
so
love photos. So there's a lot of photos for sure.
Yeah, yeah. So you've won a lot of different awards in the community, and again, contributing to the community significantly. Some people kind of do a lot of taking and not a lot of giving, and some people do a lot of giving and they don't seem to be, receiving much. You seem to have a very healthy balance of giving and taking, all cranked up to the max there, my friend. You are lots and lots of community engagement that is both giving and benefiting from the community. Is that fair to
Yeah,
say?
yeah. I'm very fortunate that way. I guess that's the intention I set out, is because life is about a balance, and if you're too much on one thing and too little on another, it's going to break eventually. So trying to keep a balance. That's why I work hard, but I play hard, even though people might not think that. Like, I always said, are you a socialite? No, actually, I do work. But I do like to promote Edmonton business community, Edmonton entrepreneur community, Edmonton charities. So all of that is part of what gives me joy. And I'm, like you said, I have a lot of energy. And so I'm going to maximize it while I can, right? You never know when that's going to stop.
You bet. You can't take for granted that your physical and mental kind of condition or health will be like that forever. I mean, we all go through different phases and whatnot. Even Olympic athletes at one point, grow out of that phase. So I'm just looking on another website here. I don't see the video there, but I'm going to bring it in and maybe just tell us a little bit about this here. There's business leaders Edmonton here. Tell us a little bit about what that was about here. I'm going to bring it in here. Can you see it?
I can see it's probably the same event.
Yeah. In June, I think it was, right?
Yeah, June. Oh, this is their promotional thing where you can business in Edmonton always have an event in not June, but I can't remember, January, February, where they invite past recipient to come there, and then it's kind of like the launch of the new nomination process that you can nominate other business in there. And yeah, so this year definitely we didn't have an event because of COVID, but yeah,
well, cool. Let me pause and ask you a different question. The question I'm going to ask you is, as you think about when I reach out and say, hey, Catherine, I know you're busy. In fact, you were like traveling here and traveling there. And when I reach out and ask, would you like to join the conversation for an hour and a bit? And you said yes. Were there areas that you wanted to chat about that we haven't gotten to yet, Catherine?
Not really, because you know what? I had no idea. I actually kind of forgot about it, to be right. Remember, you're like, Catherine, remember we have an interview on October 6th? And I remember thinking, oh my gosh, I forgot about it. It wasn't in my calendar because it feels like it was so long ago. And at the same time, like this year, what I find is that it feels like it goes by so fast and so slow at the same time, right? Like I can't believe that Thanksgiving is this coming weekend.
Yeah.
When like it's a very bizarre year.
Time warp.
Yeah, I definitely either I'm aging faster and I'm forgetting things, which is probably things. I mean, I always pride myself on my memory, but I feel like time, because when I booked it with you, I remember you wanted a September date, and I'm like, oh, I can't till October, and it just feels like it was a long way off. And I remember you sent me a message on Friday and said, oh, can I get your bio for I'm thinking, oh my gosh, I'm going to the mountains. I don't even have to do this. You're thank you for your patience. But yeah, this is definitely more fun and easier than I anticipated.
It's not painful. I don't make it painful.
But I'm glad we did some trial, because I mean, I was very not prepared. I didn't know what to expect. And a lot of my friends have had conversation with you. And so that's definitely pretty cool. I have very good friends that we share same friends, right? So
you bet.
It's a phenomenal community. And I think that if you're curious about anything, anyone in particular, my advice is reach out, say hi, connect with them, because I say 95% of the time they will respond back. And that's kind of how I get to know people is that I just reach out, ask for coffee, or just send them an email, and a lot of people will respond to you
Mhm.
and give you some time.
Yeah.
So don't
In
be
fact,
afraid.
in fact, that's what I did about, I don't know, probably 10 years ago now. I reached out on Facebook and say, hey, Catherine, we have a number of mutual friends. We haven't met yet, but I'd like to kind of connect with you on here. Do you remember that?
Yeah, and then I realized how cool you are. Like you're a singer and you sing Vietnamese, which that's one thing I do not like listen to Vietnamese music because I find it so sad.
Yeah, it is sad, but there's also some exciting songs and whatnot. But you're right. There's a lot of, but there's a lot of songs about the rain, right? Rain. There's a lot of songs about the rain.
Lot of
Lots
rain
of songs.
and lost love, and yeah, I'm definitely more since going back to Vietnam again
Yeah.
last year. I'm definitely more tolerant of it.
Yeah, yeah. I would tell you a story that might inspire you. There was 30 years, about 30 years, I did not listen to any Vietnamese music, okay? I just sort of, was busy with work and university and colleges and consulting and all that stuff, right? And so I was not plugged into the Vietnamese community. And in fact, when I came to Canada, it was a small town in Westlock, Alberta, 5,000 people. We were kind of just fully, full immersion. There was no Vietnamese community there. And so what happened was when I was asked in 2010 to play at a Vietnamese concert, and I said yes because I finally decided to return to music. And it turns out I play a lot of music with the Vietnamese community. And all of a sudden, all these people look at me and say, hey, Dune, did you just come to Canada? I have never seen you before. And all of a sudden, I see you all the time now. Are you new to Edmonton? I said, no, I've been here like 30 years, 35, almost 40 years now.
But you know that you don't see me I go to a lot of events, but you don't see me at Vietnamese music at concert, right? But my mom and my brother, like my brother loves it, like,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
he knows these songs, and I
There you
don't,
go.
right?
There you go. But one day, what I'm saying is, I was surprised. I wasn't planning on getting into it. I wasn't planning on playing a whole lot of Vietnamese music. I wasn't planning on joining like 4 different professional bands that play Vietnamese music. That was not on my radar. All it was, after 11 years of stopped playing music and whatnot, I decided I would get into playing music. I said at a board meeting, IIBA board meeting, I said, yeah, I'm going to get back into playing music. That night, my nephew, who's actually older than me, contacted me and say, would you like to be our lead guitarist? We're going to have a concert soon here, like in a few weeks. And I said, you know what? If you asked me that yesterday, I would have said no, like I have for the last 11 years. But just today, I decided that I would get back into music. So I said yes. So once I said yes to that, I perform in front of the large Vietnamese crowd, and all of a sudden, all these bands, start to connect with me, and all of a sudden, I play in all these. So it surprised me. I don't know what event it's going to be, but you might be surprised one day how you get sucked in and pull into it like I was, my friend.
I mean, I have no problem attending one, but I'm never going to be involved in one. Like, I know I can't sing, but that's okay. I'm okay with that. But like you said, right? You say yes to things and look at where it leads, because you
Yeah,
just
yeah.
never know.
Also, it actually allows me to actually learn the Vietnamese language a lot better because, at the age of 13, when I escaped Vietnam and left there, I literally kind of put that behind me and kind of just focus on Canada. So much so that my Vietnamese was not very good other than, speaking informally in the family. And playing with all these bands, with all these famous singers that come from other countries, they come in and you're as a band that backing them up, they expect you to play their songs. And when they announce the Vietnamese songs, you're supposed to know what song that is and get right into it. That might be a lead guitar that you got to start the song with the intro. It was a bit of a stretch for me, but so I learned a whole lot more about my own mother tongue language, if you will. So anyway.
Yeah, very similar story. Like I didn't speak very much Vietnamese because my dad wanted us to assimilate really fast to English, right? So we kind of lose that.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but going back to Vietnam twice now, it definitely made me better at
Mm-hmm.
speaking it, or it doesn't take me as long to spit out a Vietnamese sentence as it used to, because I think in English and then I translate in
Yeah.
Vietnamese.
Yeah.
And my mom speaks English too, so English and Vietnamese mixed together. So
Mm-hmm.
I definitely do that a lot better than if I had to do a sentence that's 100% Vietnamese, which when I
Mm-hmm.
was in Vietnam, especially in Hanoi. That's a different
Yeah.
language than north and south. But you know what? I had enough Vietnamese to have a really good trip.
Oh, there you go. There you go. So that's awesome. And as we round the corner on wrapping this up, I want to do just a couple more things. One is I want to ask you two questions before we move from there. One is, if you think of your entire career, your entire life, even, is there a highlight that stands out in a story that you can tell where you say that was a bit of a career highlight for you? That was an awesome whatever it was, and you want to share that story? Do you have one that comes to mind?
Well, I probably have one personal and one
Sure.
business. So business wise was, in 2003 when I went out on my own, right? And realized that I don't know what I'm doing, but I'm going to do this on my own and just start networking and building and learning from other entrepreneurs. If I didn't have that breakup with my partner,
Mm-hmm.
I think I would not be where I am today. And so taking a risk, doing it my own, and I remember thinking very clearly, okay, I'm going to do this IT thing by myself. And if I failed, I have a very support family. I can always move home and live with my mom.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
You
mm-hmm,
know what I mean? Like that's my thought process, is that if I'm doing something scary, I always think of the worst case scenario
mm-hmm,
and think, so can I live with the worst case scenario? And usually if the answer is yes, I will usually go with that to try that thing. And the second thing was that going out on a blind date with my husband.
yes.
And I was totally adamant, like, I am good with relationship. I love my life. I'm happy being by myself because I have lots of things to keep me busy and have a fulfilling life. But meeting my husband and him convincing me that, until you're loved completely for who you are
Mm-hmm,
and your essence, your soul,
mm-hmm,
you don't really have the true happiness in life. And taking that risk and kind of going with that has been amazing for me, because I'm always a happy person, but now people's like, my happiness has reached a new level. And that's taking a risk of being vulnerable and just sharing your heart and who you really are inside.
mm-hmm,
um, that has definitely made my life more full and more vibrant than I could ever imagine.
mm-hmm,
So those two things is if I was to go with what I normally revert to as my comfort level,
mm-hmm,
then I would have missed a lot in life.
mm-hmm,
And sometimes you have to take risk,
mm-hmm,
and the risk is scary.
mm-hmm.
And but just evaluate it and take that risk, take that leap,
Yeah.
because you just never know what's on the other side.
Yeah.
And sometimes you fail.
Yeah.
That-
That's fine.
and you learn from it, and as long as you don't die, you can do it again.
Yeah. Yeah. Again, I appreciate that so much. And I see that in my own experience as well, where, again, what you said earlier, if you keep doing the same thing in the same way, then don't expecting significantly different results. So you got to try different things. So that you mix things up, so you kind of open opportunity for change to occur. And sometimes this change could be molded into something very wonderful, whether it's your business or, in this case, your husband and the relationship that you have and with him, and the happiness that comes out of that relationship. It sounds to me like, again, we must underscore, folks, if you are not quite happy 100%, just 100%, it's like, I want my life to stay the same forever and ever, then perhaps try something different, because the only way to kind of usher in some new changes in your life is to take some actions yourself. Now, sometimes external factors cause it. So even, I suppose, in the case of your business, the fact that your partner, was coming down to an end, and so all of a sudden you had this window of opportunity. You could just let it pass by and just close down the business, or in that case, you decided to kind of take it over and buy them out, and kind of make it go on your own. So sometimes circumstances forces the decision on us. Sometimes you have to, in the case of your husband, I think you actually made a conscious decision to move towards that. It was like a circumstance was not forcing you to go on a blind date with Arvind, right? I mean, you made a choice to kind of say, I have a happy life and a full life, but I'm going to try this out. And may I underscore, that is the mark of great leaders and great high performers, is they realize how good they have it, and they're willing to do something in the hope that they might get even better. And they recognize when it catches fire and they feed it. And it sounds like what you did.
Yeah, eloquently put.
Wonderful. Well, thank you for that. I'm going to ask you for maybe one more story, just one story. Look at that. You recognize this name here, Mr. John Sue. Yeah.
My little brother from another mother and father.
Yeah. And in Vietnam, Chị Hai, that means the sort of the eldest sister, right?
Yes.
So
Hi,
he was also, we had a lot of fun with John on one of these interviews earlier on as well. He's doing wonderful things as well with his recent discovery. And, check out that interview as well, folks, with John Sue, if you want to know what he's been up to. But I wanted to ask you maybe one more story before we wrap it up. Do you have a story of, you have a lot of highlights and a lot of fun and a lot of kind of productivity and a lot of awards and recognitions and all of that stuff, but do you have a bit of a low point where that was a bit of a low point where you're not sure if things are going to kind of go well, or do you have one of what I would call a low point in your career that you might want to share, my friend?
Well, then that would definitely be when like in 2002-ish, when my ex-partner wanted to shut down the business, and a lot of threats. And I remember not even knowing a lawyer at that time, like had no idea who to reach out. And I reached out to my sister, and she introduced me to Bill Rosser. And that was really scary time because I had no idea. I wasn't responsible for our bookkeeping or anything. I was doing all the things for business, but I wasn't doing our own accounting. And that was a scary time, lots of turbulence, and not really sure what I'm going to do. Like I said, I could have shut down the company and go work for someone else, but I'm glad I persevere and started Proactive IT and just grow it and we're better for it. And my life is definitely better because I took that risk, and because it was a very scary time, and I think I'm still a little scarred from it because I hesitate in having partners, even though sometimes it can be lonely being an entrepreneur that's just you in the business. So that's why I rely a lot on guidance of other entrepreneurs and collaborate with a lot of people, is because that helps the loneliness and share ideas with other people so that you can feel comfort in making the right choice. But it'd be nice to have partners, right? But then at the same time, it takes me back every time I think about it to what happened with my old partner, and that's like definitely a scar, right? And to move away from that and be where I am now, I'm very grateful that I took that risk.
Well, thank you so much. Now, you touched on it before, but I'm so glad that you kind of flesh it out a little bit and put a spotlight on it. And I wanted to reiterate for our viewers out there, every successful entrepreneur out there who you see having a great old time with life and enjoying the lifestyle that many people would just love to have, they have been through very rough times, multiple times. They have been through times when they're not sure if they could even move on with this thing. And sounds like it's no different for you. You've been through that, and it shaped who you are, and it helped you build it in a cautious way, in a collaborative way, in a way that works for you. You have figured out your path forward from that. So thank you for sharing that. So for those of you who are listening, who are encountering a tough time, I have my fair share of business failures. I have my fair share of business challenges. But wow, the lessons that come from there, I got my MBA back in 2004, right? That's when I graduated. I started my MBA in 2001, a few days before 9/11. I thought I learned a lot in the MBA program. When you have your own business and you have a lot of staff and you make some mistakes and you lose a bunch of money, your lessons are a little deeper. So all of us who are entrepreneurs and business owners and whatever have you, we have had our challenges. Even though you might look and you say they seem to be having pretty kind of good and happy and jolly and wonderful kind of lifestyle, we've all been through the ups and downs, right?
Truth. Yeah. And looking what you can learn from the down so that you don't do it again. Sometimes you need to do it again just to see if you learned your lesson. But then, like security person that I am, try not to do that.
Yeah.
But that's definitely scary. I mean, it would be nice to have partners some days, but other days I remember the mess that you could get into if you're not clear in your agreements. You could be in a lot of caca. So
well, you made a huge step forward by responding to or going on that blind date with Arvin there, and actually discover that you in fact found a lifelong partner, that you are so happy for both of you and all of that. So that's one side, and the business is working the way it does. So, and it supports the life that you envision, and so I say you got a great thing going there, my friend.
Thank you, Dune.
So on that note, I would like to turn it over to you to wrap up, Catherine. This is how I would like it to be. You can sing us a song if you like, or two songs if you're ambitious. You can cite a poem. You can cite a poem, right? Sing a song, cite a poem. You can summarize what the sentiments of this conversation has been and highlight a few things for us. You can tell us a powerful last story. Or you can just ramble on about anything. But I'm going to shut up, and we're going to hear from you. And when we're done, just hang out in the green room so I can give you a high five. But before we have Catherine take us out on this broadcast, friends, you've been listening to Catherine Vu, highly successful, highly energetic, and very connected to community and charity and business in a very high-touch manner. And she has built a community around her that's really supportive, and quite a model for many of us to aspire to, I would say. And so, if you've taken any insights from this, perhaps provide a comment and encourage her to continue on her wonderful journey there. And so, Catherine, are you ready? It is your turn to take us out any which way you want to, my friend. It's all yours.
I would have to say what's the word I'm looking for? Be the change you wish to see in the world. Because I feel like if you're not happy with something, starts with you. Change something within, because I think we all have the power to make the world a better place, and it starts with us. And be you. That's the mantra I'm living by right now. You can't please everyone. You know how that is being Vietnamese. We're raised to take care of people. So be you, and the people that matters will accept you for who you are. That's truly what I have to intake, because I'm not going to sing.
There's a sentiment from Mr. John Q there. He said, "That's right."
Huh?
That's right. He said, "That's right."
Oh, that is obviously way right. No, Bucky, right?
A little bit slang, a little bit with kind of phonetically kind of pronunciation. But you see, that proves just how much I plugged into Vietnamese community. I actually know that. So
I think you can into the Vietnamese community all you want, but John Su speak it's still very different.
John Su is remarkable. He is very unique and he is awesome. And I enjoy seeing his posts on social media as well. So thank you again, Catherine. Really appreciate your time today, my friend. And best wish with your continued journey with everything that you do. And we so appreciate you being part of our community here in the Edmonton area.
Thank you, Dune. It was a pleasure. Have a great day.
You too.